guys, I'm Mary, this is Ricky. We are Asterism and we are going to give you a preview of our guitar collection. I don't have a guitar, I only have basses, but we're going to do Ricky's guitars first in part 1. Part 2 will be my bass collection, which will be a significantly shorter video than your guitar collection. So yeah, I think it'd be really fun to just talk about each of these guitars and why you like them. Okay. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so guitar number 1 is...
this is a Spanish guitar which I picked up, in fact my friend Will bought it for me as a present from a charity shop. 50 quid, it's a Yamaha, and Yamaha are classics because perfectly reliable. You get what you pay for, pay 50 quid, you get 50 quid guitar. Pay 250 quid, 250 quid guitar. They're very reliable like that.
Is it an electroacoustic?
It does have a pickup in it.
Okay.
To be honest, the pickup is not that good, but you know, it's not really why I have it. My primary reason is to have it acoustic guitars because it's always ready to go. It's right there. Pick it up, easy to tune, easy to finger. It doesn't make your hand tired, and it's great for learning new songs on because if you can play it on this.
Yeah. So the neck on that's like a coffee table. It's huge.
It is big. You've got a lot of space there, so you do have to remember to move your fingers just a little bit further. Don't you?
Yeah.
But it does sound nice, and you can actually do it late at night and not knock everybody out of bed. Which has and it's a very charming thing.
How long have you had that one?
2.5 years now, I think it is.
Okay.
And I'm sure it was actually just a prop in somebody's room for many years because I think the guitar originally was around in the sort of late 80s. So
it's in great condition.
It is. That's why I think it's been used as a prop mod.
Yeah.
And
it's really shiny, lacquered finish as well.
Yeah, the lacquer finish, of course. Modern finishes now that they're water-based tend not to be quite so shiny.
No, it's really nice. Is it good to play? It's comfy to play. And
it's comfortable to play. This is out of all of my guitars, this is the easiest to play on a practical term because you can afford to be quite sort of clumsy. It's quite forgiving. If you don't quite get the fingering right, it'll still sound, you know. Whereas as we see, not all of my guitars are quite so gracious, but. Lovely to have and lovely to use and easy. But that's
that one. Okay. Now you can see that one has not been an ornament. You can see where it's been worn. That one's that's a well loved. Yes. So which is this one?
This is the Blue Moon, and it was by Faith as a company. Their model was a Blue Moon. Actually, it's not a bad guitar. You could buy it in the raw, i.e. no finish, just the raw wood, and it's half the price.
Right.
But actually, I was keen to have, when you have a raw wood, they do end up getting damaged, and if you spill something on them, then it soaks it up in the timber. Yeah. You never get it out because it was staying through to a depth. So I wanted a finish, and I was kind of already there. I could have gone for a slightly less finish, but for an extra 150 quid at the time, I wanted a nice finish.
Yeah. It's a beautiful looking guitar, isn't it? The colour is...
Yes, it is. I do love the way they've faded the colour like that there.
So the fretboard on that is significantly narrower than the Yamaha, feels like.
It is, yes. And actually this is just a pinch narrower than many acoustic guitars, which has its pros and cons. But out of all of them, this one does sound the nicest.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
So has that got an electric pickup as well?
And that's got an electric, and this has got a good pickup in. So when you do plug it in, it really does sing. You usually need to block the hole, otherwise it'll feed back. But other than that, it's a nice performing guitar.
Lovely. That's really nice. So how long have you had that one?
This one I probably had 7 or 8 years.
Right, okay. Cool. Okay, this one you've not had as long, because I remember you getting this one.
I do. My friend, I have a friend who played guitar for a while. He stopped playing, but he was Australian. He did buy a guitar in Australia, although it's ostensibly American guitar. And he bought it in the 70s.
Right.
Now, in the 70s, Ovation came up with this idea of having a round back. And that's actually made of fiberglass.
Okay. So it's really lightweight then?
It's really lightweight, but one of the reasons they've done it was because it makes it incredibly stable.
Right.
It doesn't fluctuate so much with the temperature, and it just doesn't move about quite so much. Seems to that fiberglass body seems to give it a stability to the whole guitar.
I love the headstock on this one.
And the headstock is a classic one.
Yeah, it's really nice.
It is really nice. Unfortunately, it's not very good for holding on guitar tuners because. But other than that, that's you know.
It's such a unique looking guitar, isn't it, with all these?
Yes,
these
it is, because I mean they've done holes each side, and actually this is not the first guitar to have done that. There are quite a few guitars that hold holes in different places, or asymmetric holes. But they've done it primarily because this was made to play on stage with a band, be sounding like an acoustic guitar, and not have any feedback.
Right.
And I can show you when you plug this in, what you hear there is what you hear without the amp. Cool. And it doesn't feed back, and you can go really loud with it. So
handy for you.
Hey. Oh, quiet.
So when did you get that one? I'm trying to remember. Is it about 3
It was about 3 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, I remember you bringing that home.
So, despite being a relatively old guitar, it's not that old, it's just I got old with it.
New to you.
But it's new to me, and this again has a thin neck, has a low action, so it plays like a electric.
It's interesting, this kind of cutaway
This
shape
cut,
here
yes.
as well.
Yeah, because you might, well, you know, actually this is the other thing, it does hold its intonation well. It's really very good. And as you move up, it still seems to keep it, and quite a lot of guitars lost their intonation by the 14th, 15th fret. But this is really nice, and it's a little wiry in its sound, as I'm sure. But that's great because when you're playing with a band, you have that wiry sound. It really cuts through, so you're not loud, but you can really hear it because it's occupying a different space in the music.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love the finish on that one as well.
It is lovely, yeah.
It's almost satin, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. Now this is a special one, isn't it?
This is a very special one actually. And initially I borrowed one from a friend who happened to have one, and I loved it right from the instant I picked it up. It's got a narrow neck, just like an electric, so it feels like you're playing quite a nice playable electric guitar.
Yeah, the action's low, isn't it?
And it is low, and you can
Is this a hollow body?
Yes, it's got a hollow body. It's also got a resonator in the back, which picks up the sound. I've got 2 pickups in there. This is the soap bar, which is to give me electric kind of sound, so I can have it kind of sounding really quite electric if I knock the acoustic part of it back. And I have an acoustic pickup, which sounds very acoustic, and you can blend them together. And these sliders look more complicated than they really are. That's just a volume for the electric, and those are the tone switches. That's the volume for the acoustic. Those are the tone sliders.
Okay.
Free band equaliser.
So you've pretty much got infinite choices of sound with that, haven't you?
You have. Yeah.
It's
You'll
so
see
slim for
Yes.
how it rings out.
this is incredibly easy to carry about because it weighs so little. It's beautifully balanced as well. You've got two plug sockets there.
Ah,
One is just the acoustic, and one is acoustic and electric.
wow, I've never seen two jack plugs on a guitar before.
And if you want to be really clever, you plug one into one amp and one into another amp. But that's when you want to have a wall of amps behind you when you're on stage. So
What's the finish on the back of the neck on this? Is it lacquered?
it's lacquered, yes.
Okay, cool.
But you also,
The wood on that is
Yes.
stunning, isn't it?
yeah. I mean, even the back of it looks nice.
The finish on
So-
it is just next level. It's so beautiful. So how long have you had? Have you had that the whole time I've known you? Haven't you? 8 years. Did
Yes,
you
it
have
must be at
then?
least that. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I
yeah.
just think you've always had it. Or if not, you must have got it around the time
Yeah.
we first started playing together.
It's another guitar you can play late at night if you don't plug it in.
Yeah, can you hear it really nicely? It's not as loud as a conventional acoustic.
So yes, it's
gorgeous.
It's got a nice tone to it as well, and as I say, got quite a lot of sounds to choose from. And
And I always like it when we play and you have that guitar. There's a couple of songs we do where you use this one, and it's really nice.
it's a really nice accompanying song, and I often have it
But the
tuned
finish
down half a
is
tone.
Just gorgeous.
Yeah, the finish is nice.
Yeah.
So yes, Godin, and they really know how to make a guitar.
Yeah.
Godin are actually a subsidiary of Seagull, I think.
Oh, are they? Cool. Is this your newest acquisition? Trying to think.
Yes, it is.
It will be, won't it?
This is by far my
Is
newest
it your
acquisition.
lockdown treat, if I remember rightly?
Yes, exactly. I say lockdown trick. I've always wanted a Les Paul, and I just didn't have the bucks for it.
Yeah. And now you kind of have a Les Paul.
Harley Benton came out. They threw out a load of copies of Strats, Telecasters, Les Pauls, Gibsons, and they've made a pretty bloody good job of it. Are they as good as the real thing? It's if you're a really discerning guitar musician and kind of guitar enthusiast, no, they're not. But that's mainly due to the finish that's left.
They're mother of formica rather than mother of pearl. And
Yes,
stuff
exactly.
Like that.
And you know things like the sometimes you see the letters they may actually be stuck on rather than
Yeah, but if you put that, on stage with dark lights, you're not.
no,
gonna,
you notice the difference.
you put it
and-
through a decent amp, you're not going to know.
And actually, you play it for a good amp. I would say you would have a hard time telling them apart because of the convention. The controls work in a very similar way, exactly the same way as the Les Paul. So you've got two pickups, soap bars, and they're really powerful humbucker pickups, and you can blend the two together and get really quite a variety of sounds out of them, from that kind of gentle ballad to the highway to hell.
Yeah.
It's
I remember when you first got this, we were playing using Jam Kazam because we couldn't meet in person during lockdown,
yes.
and it was blaring out of the speakers.
the signal
really
of this guitar in particular is super
crazy,
strong.
isn't it?
Yeah,
But
but
it looks beautiful.
It looks beautiful, nice to play. And
There is a theme to the colours of your guitars, isn't there? They are all in the same
actually,
colour
you're right.
family.
I mean, mainly it's because I like wood.
Yeah.
Being a carpenter in another life,
Yeah, you can appreciate the wood grain.
the wood is kind of, I find very appealing. So
It's really nice.
it's
So
got-
what's this like the neck wise? Is it?
this one
It's
in the
quite
neck wise,
chunky.
it's actually, I find this. It is easy to play, but not the easiest to play.
I think that's probably fair of a real Les Paul though, from what I've heard.
I think you're probably right, actually. And unless you're a veteran guitar player, I think you would have a struggle to tell the difference between the real instrument and a Harley Benton. The difference is a Harley Benton is literally a tenth of the cost.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I don't know if they've got some orphans working for them, but whoever it is, they're making a bloody fine job of it.
Yeah, I mean, they do some phenomenal basses as well.
So, yeah. So, if you ever fancy a guitar that you really fancy, it's worth checking out Harley Benson.
Yeah, they're good stuff. A couple of strings short on this one.
Yeah. Or rather, yeah, this is a bass guitar that I've got. And actually, I traded it in for another bass guitar that I came across and didn't want. So, as far as I'm concerned, I got a good deal because this is an Aria 2.
Aria Pro 2, yeah. I've played this bass a few times. It is gorgeous to play.
It's got one pickup, one volume, one tone. That's it. All the rest is you playing it, which is nice because I'm not really a bass player, but
it is a very easy bass to play.
Lovely, really easy to play.
It was the shape of the neck on this because I know it is just really nice to play. It's nicer to play than my Aria Pro.
I think it's got a nice C shape, which the C flattens out as you get towards the end. I think it makes it very accommodating when you're trying to handle it.
Yeah. So this is the Cardinal series, CSB 300 model. So what year was this made? Do you know?
No, I don't, and I've never bothered to look it up. But I reckon it must be late 80s, perhaps.
Okay.
So it's not new by any means, but it's ugly and it's got a few scratches. And
is that from a thumb rest?
Yes, it was a little thumb rest that I tried to get on there, and I basically it was defunct because it's just easier to, if you want a thumb rest, use the top of the fretboard. Yeah. Or you can use the top. I don't like playing just over there. It gives a sound I don't particularly enjoy.
Right.
The further up the neck you go, the mellower the sound. The further to the bridge, the sharper the sound.
Yeah. Which is good sometimes for cutting through a mix, depending on what you're playing. It'll give you that almost like a Rickenbacker growly sound, won't it? Really trebly,
yes.
Which can be quite good in the mix, but isolated, I think it sounds a bit odd.
Yeah.
We say it's simplicity, isn't it?
It's super
two
simple,
buttons, but
easy
it always
to play.
sounds so good.
It sounds great.
Yeah, I love that bass.
And it's a one-trick pony, but it's a nice trick.
Well, what's a P bass if it's not a one-trick pony? No. Yeah, I think the Arias are underrated. I think they're really good.
Yes, and this one has seen plenty of service. So
it has. You've written some pretty awesome bass lines on that. By no means least.
I've had a few guitars go through my hands, but the last two I had, one was a 12 string, I just fixed up and gave them to the charity because it was just nice to have a 12 string for a short time. But I have to ration myself on the number of guitars.
Yeah.
So there's always another guitar to want, but I saved the best till last.
This is your actual baby.
This is my baby. Yes, it really is. I must have had it 20 years.
Right. Was it new when you got it?
I brought it brand new. I mean, I knew exactly what I wanted. Again, I borrowed a guitar. I had it for actually 6 months. It was a Telecaster, black and white one. Hated the decal, but it played and sounded great. So I thought, I must get one. I did manage to save up enough money, and
you will never part with this.
And yes, I mean, it's full of dents, and I've been dropped a few years. There's a couple of nicks out of it, but I love it. It's just so easy to play. It's so loving. I have spent a lot of hours with it, so I'm so familiar with it that actually, out of all of my guitars, this is the one I would choose. When the tide went out and swept all my belongings away, this is
the one you'd grab. Yeah. So if it's so easy to play, would this be the kind of guitar, if you could afford it, it'd be good as a first guitar because of how forgiving it is? Or
it would be a good first guitar if you can afford it.
If you could afford it.
I think it's probably. I mean, I bought this one. It was £950. I got him to knock £100 off and throw in the case. I suspect they're probably just a little bit more than that now.
Yeah.
And there are quite a lot of copies of Telecasters. I mean, the thing that really swung it for me is having a good sound. Again, it's pretty straightforward sound, actually. Not much to it. You go one side or the other, or more lead or blend.
And it's very bright, isn't it? I mean, it cuts through all the mix. I've had tinnitus a few times after band practice.
I played with in another band. We had two guitarists, and he played the Strat and I played the Tele, and they were very good compliments to each other, actually. But they had a very different voice, and that's what made them so great.
Kenny loves his Tele as well. My dad Kenny loves his Telecaster. It's
there is nothing not to love about them. They just play beautifully. They play well, accurately, great intonation. You've got plenty of reach right up here, and it holds it all together.
Is the fretboard lacquered on yours?
Yes, it is.
It is, okay.
This is a special lacquer as well, and it's a maple fretboard. Sometimes Tellies have rosewood on them. Rosewoods, the argument is a rosewood gives you a mellower sound, the maple gives you a sharper sound, but
really
it also gives you a faster.
Through an amp, do you really notice the wood? I bet you don't.
I suspect that if there is a difference, you can soon overcome it with a tone control.
Yeah, I think in an acoustic I get that the type of wood would resonate differently, but in electric, is it really going to make a difference?
Yeah, if it does, it's quite marginal.
Maybe in feel it might be, but I think just satin versus lacquered fretboard is a personal thing, and regardless of what the wood is, if you're covering it in shellac or whatever that is, then it's...
I mean, this was one of their big selling points, that they had this special lacquer that they put on the fretboard. It does make it especially fast.
Right.
Okay, and you can... effortless, it really...
So all the stuff we recorded with the band next door was recorded with that, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah. Again, it just sounds great.
It does.
I like machine heads on top, actually. It's very convenient. So it's super practical, and it's got a nice place to clip your tuner to.
Yeah.
And the only thing I would say, I did change over this plug socket, because the original plug socket is deep set, so you can only use a straight jack.
Oh, okay.
The only problem with a straight jack is every time you try and touch it on the ground, it's resting on the cord. So I wanted to get but that's
That's exactly the problem I've got with my new bass, is I've had to buy a right angle bass cable for that same reason.
I think it cost me £8.50, and I got a new one that was fit beautifully.
That's lovely.
So
that's still the original scratch plate as well?
That's still the original scratch plate.
That's seen some action, isn't it?
Yes,
but I love that, though. It has a story to tell.
Yeah. My strap had... You can see little bits of the...
Oh gosh, is that the original strap?
It had a lining in it, and that actually literally wore away in little bits like that over the years.
So I'm not a fan of like genuinely wrecking a guitar to make it look relict, but having one that's legitimately been relict by being loved and used, I think is really nice. I think taking an angle grinder and a sander to a guitar to make it look old is something I struggle with the concept of.
I mean, actually, usually the reason a stressed guitar can be appealing, because you know that somebody's loved it. But if somebody's just hit it over with an oily chain, then
and set fire to it and thrown it out the window. It just kind of feels. It makes for a good TikTok video, but I don't know that I'd want to buy one.
I'm an old man, and I'm still trying to get over buying jeans with holes in.
So yeah, doing it to a guitar is just sacrilege, isn't it? So you was using your big Fender amp for years, but you've recently got the Spark, haven't you? And the Tele sounds great through that.
Yes, that little Spark amp is, it's a practice amp, importantly. I reckon you can get away with a small gig.
Yeah, definitely. And the sound is amazing, but the variety of sounds that you've got with that app,
you've got an app. The thing that's most impressive is that the sounds are really quite genuine. They kind of come across as very convincing.
So warm for such a small thing, isn't it? I know my husband has one, and it's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
It is incredible piece of equipment. I love my Fender DeVille amp. It sounds great.
You can give yourself a hernia trying to lug it into the car.
Yeah. But it is a bit of a beast. It's 24 kilos to lug around.
Yeah.
And
it looks the part. I mean, the amp. I'm just pan round, and you can see the amp. It really does look the part on stage.
Yeah.
But 24 kilos versus 4 kilos?
It's maybe 5, but yeah.
It's no contest.
No contest. And there is a huge variety of sound in that. So you don't need any pedals.
No.
The only pedal, and I'm not a great fan of pedals anyway. It's always nice to have a dirty channel as such, and if you haven't got it, a pedal can solve that.
Yeah.
But the only pedal I really use consistently is a loop pedal.
Okay.
And I've had that for years. I also bought it second hand.
So it's kind of all the pedals you did have are now defunct because you've got it all on your phone.
Yes, they've all been superseded by and actually they're constantly offering me to buy software, so I want to sound like Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
They got all the software that make me sound like that for every song that he ever done.
So I remember this technology was in its infancy. I was like, this is never going to work.
Yeah.
And I was so wrong. It's
I was hopeful for many years, and every now and again somebody would come out and got it. Now we've got it, and and then you'd listen and you think, well, you have. Good effort, E for effort, but you're still not quite there. But this is the first time I think. I mean, there is a more expensive amp emulator out there that professionals use, and they range from £1,500 to £3,500, and they do sound magnificent. Yeah,
the Neural DSP Quad Cortex.
Yes.
That is an amazing piece of kit, and it's tiny. But I mean the Spark amp's not that expensive for what you get, and I don't think
it's incredibly good. But I mean, £260. Well, I think it was £260 I paid for it. It's solid state, so you can throw it around with without having to worry about it. Doesn't mind the heat or the cold. And what's nice is it doesn't take time to warm up. It's right there.
It's just there.
The other thing is because on most of all of my setups and all the preset ones, you'll find that there is a noise gate. So if you make an accidental loud noise, like say unplugging it, it doesn't make it pop because it'll cut it out before it gets to that level. And that's very convenient because I can just plug a guitar in and out without having to turn the amp down and then back up again.
Yeah, that's really good.
Just sounds wonderful, easy to use, and it was pretty inexpensive. My DeVille is about £1,000 now to buy, and getting quarter of the price. It's So yeah.
You got your little Trace Elliot over there as well.
That little Tracy Elliot, yes, that's more of a curiosity because it was Tracy Elliot trying to, again in the 70s, maybe early 80s, trying to find a speaker that would do two things at the same time, so you could sing and play through it. That does have two channels.
Okay.
And they're completely separate. The tone controls are literally physically separate from each other. And it sounds okay, a classic 70s in the background all the time, but you don't have to have it up that loud. And it's not bad. And actually, if you played a pub gig, that would be perfectly adequate for a voice and an instrument.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, again, I bought it second hand off eBay. I think I paid £80 for it.
Okay. Worth hanging on to because you never know.
Exactly. I quite like its aesthetic.
Yeah. And I've got the big Trace
so.
Elliot bass amp. I think they look awesome. They look industrial. Mine
looks
industrial.
They look like they mean business.
It really does. Cool, right, awesome.
Okay, well, I hope that's.
I hope people found that interesting. I always look whenever I'm playing here. I'm always facing your guitars, and I'm always kind of distracted looking at them all. And it's cool to hear the story behind them. Thank you.
You're welcome.